Now on NDAA, the Defense Act. Madam President, we begin an important week for what will be an important final month of 2021. Later today, the Senate will vote on cloture on the substitute amendment to the NDAA. NDAA has been passed by this chamber for over 60 years, and there's no good reason why this year should be any different. Before Thanksgiving, the Senate worked in as bipartisan way as it could to lay the groundwork for advancing the defense bill. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Reid and Ranking Member Inhofe reached an agreement, a bipartisan agreement, on a package of 18 amendments. Let me repeat that, 18 amendment votes for the Senate to hold roll call votes on. Nearly half of those amendments were led by a Republican. That would be more amendments to the NDAA receiving roll call votes than in the last 4 years combined. We also agreed to the substitute amendment, which included at least 50 amendments, 27 of which were led by a Republican. Senator Inhofe, the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee, agreed to this. In any other time, this would be considered a very fair and generous compromise, even though every member didn't get every amendment they wanted. The leadership on both sides would have made sure that cloture was granted. Unfortunately, Republicans could not accept this agreement before Thanksgiving, but we hope that Republican dysfunction will not be a roadblock to passing this bill and taking care of our troops and their families. Now on government funding. As we all know, by the end of this week, both parties must come to an agreement for funding the government and avoiding a needless shutdown. At the end of September, Democrats and Republicans worked together to keep the government open through December 3rd, avoiding many of the fights that tainted so many funding debates under the previous administration. After the House takes action this week, the Democratic-led Senate will move forward to make sure the government remains funded after the deadline. With so many critical issues, the last thing the American people need right now is a government shutdown, and Democrats are going to work this week to make sure we don't have one this time around. It's important to get it done, and we are working to get it done. And finally, Madam President, on Build Back Better. Before the end of the year, the Senate will also act on President Biden's Build Back Better legislation, which momentously passed the House at the very end of the last work period. This week, Democrats will continue to meet with the Senate parliamentarian in order to complete the technical and procedural work required before a bill comes to the floor. Meetings were held over the Thanksgiving week, and we will continue this week and next week as needed. As I've said repeatedly, once this necessary work is completed with the parliamentarian, I will bring the President's Build Back Better legislation to the floor so we can pass it as soon as possible and send it to the President's desk. Our goal continues to be to get this done before Christmas. Build Back Better represents the largest investment in the American people in generations. Under our bill, child care will be more affordable, pre-K will be more affordable, and raising kids overall will be more affordable for tens of millions of parents. The bill will take unprecedented steps in the fight against the climate crisis, paving the way for even greater action in the future. And as scores of economists from across the ideological spectrum attest to, Build Back Better will not worsen inflation, and in the long run, help bring costs under control. So cutting costs, saving parents money, fighting climate change, and creating the jobs of tomorrow, these are the things the American people want, these are the things the American people need, and these are the things that Build Back Better will deliver on once we pass it through this chamber. I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.